get the ball, you catch the ball. You got it?
There's no crying. There's no crying in baseball.
Viva Cuba Libre. Welcome into episode number 24 of the Picked Off Podcast, the hardest hitting 30 minutes you will get all week. I am your host, Bitter Mike Babbo, sitting here on a Friday, the first day of the second half of the baseball season. We are underway with 15 games. That's right, all 30 teams. We had a long All-Star break here, Freddie D, did we not?
No, we absolutely did, but let's call it what it is. I think baseball is positioning itself nicely for a action-packed second half of the season. If you are Rob Manfred, you've got a log jam at your AL wild card.
Yep.
You've got the Dodgers that are obviously in contention. You've got we're 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks away from the trade deadline.
Yep.
That should be active. So let's not forget. You've got Aaron Judge, who is chasing history. You've got Cal Raleigh
chasing history
right now. You've got Jacob deGrom, a blast from the past, who's let's pretend like it's 2019 all over again. And you've got division races. So what more could you ask for? If you're baseball
and you got two Cy Young candidates going after it this weekend in Tarek Skubal against Nate Eovaldi. That is going to be a clash.
Raise your hand if you'll be at that game.
Go ahead. Not me. However, I will be watching the Giants probably get smoked by the Atlanta Braves on Monday. Actually traveling to Hot Atlanta for a business trip.
Okay.
And Monday night, they are in town. And I've never been to Truist Park, and I'm looking forward to seeing the Battery, which is a hot spot for baseball fans and basically people who just like to party. So really looking forward to that beautiful new park that they built about 5 years ago. So
now, isn't that area kind of baseball is trying to emulate that with all these new with some of these newer parks that are trying to come into play, like Kansas City being one of them, where they want to emulate. I know you talked about it with San Francisco as well.
Well, they did that with Wrigley Field as well when they refurbished Wrigley Field. I mean, they bought out a lot of that private property and they turned it into just a playground. Baltimore is the same way. Detroit's the same way. Certainly San Francisco. The Giants quietly have purchased all of the surrounding land around Pac Bell-Park, and they've turned that into a little playground with restaurants and shops and bars and such. And so it is a nouveau riche to do that. And that's where a lot of the teams, they make their ancillary income for sure. But,
and plus baseball lends itself to that, right? Where because it's always the nighttime game and there's so many of them, it's one of those deals where it gives people a chance to kind of mill around, shop, have a few drinks. You kind of got that situation going on over by Globe Life Field with Texas Live and all those little stuff around there. So look, it's sports has figured out, look, you got to have something else for people to kind of get involved with and do in addition to just the game itself.
Yeah, I mean, because people can't sit around for a 2.5 hour ball game. It's kind of a shame, really, because people can't sit still. We see the kids with on their phones and on Twitter and on Instagram and stuff like that. The instant gratification and stuff. They just can't sit still to watch a game, and that's why they had to, getting off the rails a little bit here, that's why they had to install all of those protective screens from foul pole to foul pole, because people were on their phones and they weren't paying attention, and next thing you know, punk, they take one in the noggin, and they're suing the team, and it's just silly. I mean, watch the game. You're there. You paid enough money for crying out loud, or at least your company did. You might as well just go ahead and enjoy the game. You may learn something. Who knows?
You may.
You may not. You may see something you've never seen before. That's why you come to the ballpark. Anyway, Freddie D, turning on to the scores around the league. The Red Sox were wishing that the All-Star break didn't happen when they did, and when it did, and sure enough, they just had their 10-game winning streak snapped by losing to the Chicago Cubs 4-1. Lucas Giolito gave up 4 runs in 5 innings, and the Red Sox, they just couldn't do anything against Mr. Colin Ray. And of course, now the Giants they're down 4-0 early to the Toronto Blue Jays. Justin Verlander has given up 7 hits, 4 earned runs, and a hit batter in just an inning and 2/3. That's in the bottom of the third, and it is that same 4-0 score. The Braves are shutting out the Yankees 3-0. That's in the bottom of the third. The Marlins jumped out to an early 5-0 lead against your Royals, but they have clawed back a little bit. The Royals have scratched across a run on the top of the first. And the Guardians, Indians, are shutting out the A's. That is 7-0 in the bottom of the fourth. Freddie, what are you looking forward to this weekend?
I think the biggest thing for me right now, obviously you guys know I'm over here in the DFW. You've got a huge series if you're the Texas Rangers. You're 3.5 games out, and these next 2 weeks are pivotal for a lot of teams that are in that log jam. You mentioned the Royals. Are they a team that's going to do something, right? Because you've got a lot of teams that are all kind of looking for the same thing, whether it's bullpen help. If you're the Rangers, you're looking for a closer. Right now their DH. The Rangers' DH right now is Kyle Higashioka. Okay, and that's taking nothing away from Kyle Higashioka in the last road trip he had, but he's batting 8th in the lineup tonight. Okay?
Yeah, your DH should be third or fourth. Yeah, somewhere between third and fifth, not 8th or 9th.
Your DH is batting in the bottom half of the lineup. Unless you're just loaded to the gills, that's a problem. Okay, yeah. And so you got a lot of teams that here's the amazing thing about baseball is, we're 97 games into this thing, and the next 10 days could determine whether or not you're a buyer or seller at the deadline.
Yeah, there's not much to it. I remember that there used to be 2 trade deadlines, right? There was the pre-waiver wire trade deadline. That was in the end of July. Yes. And then, of course, the waiver wire trade deadline, And the only difference between the two is that after July 31st, you could still trade someone, but you had to expose them to waivers. And sometimes it happened, sometimes it did not. But the big difference is that at least if you made a trade before August 31st, that guy that you acquired was eligible to be on their playoff roster. So now you have 1 month less. And so like you're saying, 10 days to set up your playoff roster. And that's just really makes things urgent for a lot of teams, especially the Rangers, especially the Diamondbacks, especially the Yankees, who have a lot of work to do. Devin Williams is still not the answer at closer. Now they got a gaping hole at third base, releasing DJ LeMahieu. They want to keep Jazz Chisholm at second base, and I don't know why they don't get Nolan Arenado or Ryan McMahon. I just don't understand it. But we still got 10 days, so we'll see.
A lot can happen. Then you look over in the end. But look, here's the thing about your Giants. Okay, let's call it what it is. This is a team that and look, I'm a picked off podcast listener. You talked about this team at the beginning of the year, you were excited about Buster Posey, but as you and I have talked about several times throughout the course of this baseball season, you thought they were about a year ahead of schedule. But let's call it what it is. Your guys right now are a half game out of the final wild card spot.
They're frustrating the heck out of me, Freddie, because they can't hit. They cannot hit, and they got one of the best hitters in the league in Ralphie Devers, and he already grounded into a double play, a rally-killing double play in the top of the first inning. His splits are absolutely terrible. His strikeout rate is way up. His walk percentage was never good to begin with, and now it's down. It's just this guy was meant to start rallies or continue rallies. He's doing the opposite, and we got enough guys who strike out. We don't need another one.
No, look, I guess the question for you guys though is, Buster's already shown he's not afraid to make a move.
No,
right? And so you wonder is, where's your guys' what are you guys working at, farm system wise, and do you think, considering you guys are within striking distance, look, you're a half game out from San Diego, 2.5 behind the Mets, 4 behind Milwaukee. I don't know that you guys are going to catch the Dodgers because they just feel like they're going to get stronger as the season goes on, and you can almost guarantee they're going to make a move at the deadline. So,
and they're going to get their pitchers healthy too. So, they're only going to get, like you said, they're going to get stronger. I don't know, Freddie. Bryce Eldridge, their top prospect in the system, is under rehab right now in low A baseball because he suffered a wrist injury 4 weeks ago, and so he's nowhere close. And they're the closest guys that are available for the major league club are pitchers. And they just don't have any hitters out in waiting in the wings to take over anybody. And Patrick Bailey, their catcher, has just absolutely fallen off the face of the earth. Jung Ho Lee's hitting under 250. I mean, they only have like two guys in their natural lineup that are hitting above 270, and it's just very frustrating. They have the third worst average in the major leagues, next to the White Sox and the Guardians. And it's just really, really frustrating to watch this. I mean, they've already grounded into two double plays, and this is only in the top of the third inning. And so I don't know. I mean, this team is only going to go as far as their pitching will carry them. This team reminds me of the 72 Oakland A's, 72, 73 Oakland A's, where couldn't hit worth a lick, but man, they had Hall of Fame pitchers. They had Raleigh Fingers and, of course, Catfish Hunter and Vida Blue and Blue Moon Odom to really hold down the rest of the league, and they just dominated. They're and of course, they had Hall of Famers at bat too. I mean, guys like Reggie Jackson, of course, but he was just still a young player. But getting back to the Giants, I really don't see too much hope for them and until they figure out their hitting woes. Pat Burrell, I do not understand, the hitting coach for the Giants. I do not understand how he still has this job. Turning to the local Rangers, I really think that Adolis Garcia is starting to turn around. Corey Seager is doing his thing, and it's good to see, even though he's playing out of position, in our opinion, right? Marcus Semien is starting to hit. Josh Smith is actually going to play third base tonight, which is nice to see. Too bad Jake Berger went on the IL, and they traded. Now they made a minor move. They traded away Dane Dunning. But I think these three games are really important.
That feels like a salary.
It was.
Right?
It absolutely was.
Right. So it freed up, like I was on with my guy Kevin Hagelin today on KNC Masterpiece. He's one of our baseball nerds at the station, and he calculated it. That move with the kid they took in, I think Jose Ruiz or something like that's the kid's name.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing special as far as a bullpen arm, if nothing else. But I think they freed up like $575,000, right? So in the grand scheme of things, what does that mean? Right now, they've got around $3.5-4 million to play with unofficially. So you're going to need, and look, I've thrown this out to you. I've said this on the air. Look, if I'm the Rangers, I'm kicking the tires. I'm calling up the Dodgers and saying, look, Kirby Yates is a setup guy for you guys. Okay. I mean, you're not in love with them.
And you're drunk with relievers, really.
Right.
I mean, how many yachts do you need to ski behind? How much is enough, right?
I mean, and again, what you're getting with Kirby Yates, right? I mean, he's been an effective closer for you in the past. He knows Texas. He knows, and Mike Maddox knows him. There's something to be said for familiarity on that front. And again, it doesn't help your hitting situation. But as I've said time and time again, you lost 2 games last week. You went 5-5 on this 10-game road trip. You could have gone 7-3 if you had a bona fide closer.
Right.
And as well as anybody, 2 games suddenly changes a lot. So I'd like to see them go after Kirby Yates again. Doesn't mean they're going to do it, but Chris Young's about as shrewd a GM as there is in Major League Baseball. So provided this team doesn't fall off a cliff, and Patrick Corbin just went 3 up, 3 down to start the game against this Detroit Tiger team. Hey, you take 2 out of 3 from the Detroit Tigers, you're feeling pretty good about things.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And the Tigers are reeling a little bit. They got swept by the Mariners in Tiger Stadium to close out the first half of the season right before the All-Star break. And so, look, they got a comfortable 11.5 game cushion, so they're not really worried too much about anybody in a rearview mirror. But this is a very, very important series for the Rangers. Good for Patrick Corbin. Look, I love what he has done. He's a reclamation project like anybody else in this league, probably next to Javi Baez, the guy he's going to be facing tonight. He's, after signing I think it was a 6-year deal with the Washington Nationals before the 2019 season. He won a World Series. He pitched very well, but the rest of those years, they were absolutely terrible for him, and he was just a forgotten man. And so, I mean, this 1 year, what was it, like a $12 million deal? I think it was. It was just really, it's less than the qualifying offer. What's that?
That's all they wanted him to do was eat innings,
and that's what he's doing. And that's what he's doing.
Exactly what he's doing. Hell, he's giving you quality starts. I mean, he's not just eating innings; he's giving you quality starts. And especially, I mean, look, you lost John Gray, who actually he's got one more rehab start, and they expect him to get back to the big club next week. Corey Bradford's done for the year, but then of course Tyler Malley's still on the shelf right now. So Corbin having Corbin to be able to come in, give you solid pitching, give you kind of that third, fourth guy, and you know this as well as anybody, Mike, having a veteran arm who's been there, done that, right? So the highs don't get too high, the lows don't get too lows. He's, I want to say he's a lefty, right? So you like that about him as well. I'd like to see, and we talked about this today, I'd like to see a little more consistency out of Kamar Rocker and Jack Leiter in the second half of the season. That's going to be vital for this team moving forward because you're going to have probably 3 or 4 starts that you're going to skip from Jacob deGrom so you can keep his innings below probably that 190, 185 range for the whole season.
Yeah, they're going to try and give him 6 days of rest at least, talking about Jacob deGrom. Hopefully they'll use the off days to work around that. But you're absolutely right. They need a lot more out of Kumar Rocker. They need a lot more out of Jack Leiter. These guys have shown flashes of brilliance, but they need to be a lot more consistent in their outings. At least, like, they need at least to do what Patrick Corbin is doing, which is giving him, a 5-6 innings, and just 2 or 3 runs. So that's it. So because this hitting is starting to come around a bit, and I'm encouraged by what I saw over the road trip. So they did score a lot of runs in that road trip. So we will see. It's going to be an exciting series. It's going to be an exciting pennant race, and certainly I just hope that Ray Davis allows Chris Young to go over the salary cap, because I know you and I talked about this last weekend on your show on The Fan, and we all agree that the Rangers were kind of stuck considering that they are right at the luxury tax. And I've had some time to think about that, Freddie. I really think that they're not stuck. I mean, because to own a professional franchise, you are supposed to do one thing and one thing only: win. You're not supposed to make money. The only time you make money is in an equity play, like my man Eric Schuler said. You buy it cheap. You operate at a loss, but you satisfy your massive ego. Let's face it. All 30 of these owners, they get into the game to satisfy their ego and also to get a lot of pub and a lot of love from the public, because nobody knows you. I guarantee you, nobody knew Steve Cohen before he bought the Mets. Nobody knew George Steinbrenner before he bought the Yankees 50-some years ago. Yeah. And I know Ray Davis is different. He's a reclusive guy, but still, I mean, the guy has done very, very well for himself as being the CEO of Energy Transfer Partners, one of the largest midstream oil and gas companies in the country, if not in the world. And so he's worth a lot of money. And so let's go out and, boost that ego a little bit, for crying out loud. Let's get some wins. Look, you won it in 2023, but let's do it, be a perennial winner. And when you sign Corey Seager, when you sign Marcus Semien, when you sign all these guys, these free agents, you're signing them based upon what their performance was. And you cannot count on that year in and year out. They're going to have slumps. They're going to have injuries. And so you have to give the general manager or your PBO, whoever it is, the tools and the financial backing to supplement these guys when they need it, because it takes really 25 men. The Giants didn't do their 3 World Series wins in 5 years by the same guys. I mean, and it was a host of different guys throughout those 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, look, we talked about that a little bit as well. He bought the team, I think, in 2010. Of course, he had immediate success. Two ALCSs. Probably should have won. I mean, should have won the World Series against the St. Louis Cardinals. When you look at what they did, during that run, and then, of course, they had that rough stretch up until 2023. And then, to your point, I mean, look, you've got the 7th highest payroll in baseball. Now, maybe he's looking at it from the standpoint of, you enter that extra luxury tax threshold, but can you put a price on winning a World Series?
No,
I don't know.
No, I mean, the amount of civic pride is just otherworldly. I mean, and everybody feels good about you. I mean, people really still revere Bill Newcomb and Peter McGowan, the owners of the Giants, because they brought the pride back in San Francisco. Heck, they gave them their first World Series championship in San Francisco history. For what Ray Davis and Chris Young and what Bruce Bochy were able to do for the first time in Texas Rangers history is nothing short of phenomenal, and they need to keep that going.
No, they absolutely do. We'd like to see it. But baseball, I don't know. Baseball is wonky in that sense. I mean, hell, you got an NFL situation going on right now where, you have the head of the NFLPA. Now, he did just step down.
No choice.
Who had a minority stake with some other partners, right? From an ownership standpoint. So ownership has gotten across professional sports. I mean, look, you saw your boy Frank Walter, who owns the Dodgers, just spent almost $12 billion to buy out the Lakers.
Yeah.
I mean, look, you said it. You've got to have funny money these days if you're going to compete in these sports.
Yeah,
right?
if not, get out. I mean, I'm sorry, Bob Nutting, the chairman of the Pittsburgh Pirates, get out. Jerry Reinsdorf, I mean, you're in the third largest TV market in the country. Get the heck out. It's just
it doesn't make it's one of those deals where if you've got a team owner that spins big and has the resources to do it, you're feeling good. And never would we say, you never thought you'd say you've got a poverty stricken owner by any means, but they certainly act like it, and it definitely is a case of the haves and the have-nots with some of these situations in baseball.
Yeah. Well, that'll do it, Freddie. Anything else on your mind before we head on to this weekend?
Man, look, it's a good weekend to get back into it. And again, those 65 games, it is a we say it's a marathon, not a sprint. But
it's a sprint right now.
It is a sprint, right? I mean, look, we're almost done with July. You got the final week of July next week, and then once that August 1st hits, and after that trade deadline, then it is a race to the finish at that point.
Yeah, no question about it. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, Freddie, thanks a lot for your time. I really appreciate it. This has been the Picked Off Podcast with Mike and Eric with my special guest, Freddie D of 105.3 The Fan. You can catch him every night, 7 to 10 p.m., unless the Rangers are playing. And sometimes he does a little cameo on the Drive Time Show in the mornings. Thanks, Freddie D. God bless.
Appreciate you, brother.
We want to thank you all for listening in. We also want to thank you for your feedback. We want to make this show better because we do it for you. You can catch us every week on Apple, Spotify, Google Play, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also follow us on X at The Bitter Mike or on Instagram, BitterMike1963. Time is precious, so we appreciate you spending some of yours with us talking the great game of baseball. Have a great weekend, everyone. See ya.
See ya.